Have you ever felt that knot in your stomach just before speaking English? That moment when your mind goes blank, your heart races, and suddenly you forget words you've known for years. If you felt this, you are not alone. Almost every English learner experiences this, no matter how long they've been studying. The key to overcoming it isn't just grammar or vocabulary, it's mental strength. Building mental strength is what allows you to face these moments, stay calm, and speak confidently even when it's uncomfortable. I want to tell you a story about Reena, a young woman from India. Reena had studied English for years. She could read novels, write essays, even understand movies without subtitles. But when it came to speaking, she froze. In class, in meetings, in social situations, her mind would betray her. Words disappeared. She'd stammer. She'd panic. And after every failed attempt, she would feel frustrated with herself. One day, Reena realized that her problem wasn't knowledge, it was mental. She was strong in theory, but weak in practice under pressure. She was giving all her power to fear and self-doubt. That's when she decided to focus not only on English skills, but on mental strength. She began small, speaking one sentence aloud to herself each morning, recording short messages, and gradually putting herself in slightly uncomfortable speaking situations. At first, it felt awkward. Her voice shook. She stumbled. But here's the thing about mental strength, it grows in discomfort. Every time she spoke despite fear, her confidence increased a little. One day, she was able to speak in a small meeting without panicking. Then a slightly larger audience. Each time, her mind proved to her fear doesn't have to control me. Mental strength works exactly like that. It's not about eliminating fear or stress. It's about learning to act in spite of them. It's about training your mind to respond differently when it's under pressure. Let me share another example. Ahmed, a student from Egypt, loved English but hated speaking because of his accent. He thought everyone would judge him. Every conversation felt like walking on a tightrope above an audience ready to laugh. But then he adopted a mental strategy. He reframed mistakes. Every time he stumbled, he told himself, "This is progress. Every mistake teaches me something." And something incredible happened. Instead of freezing, he started experimenting with new words. He laughed at his own mistakes. He realized people were listening more to what he said than how he said it. Slowly, his anxiety shrank because his mind had become resilient. He had built mental strength. One of the first keys to mental strength is acceptance. Accept that fear and nervousness are normal. Your heart racing, your palms sweating, your voice shaking, these are natural responses. They are not signs that you are failing. They are signs that you care and that your brain is reacting to a challenge. By accepting these feelings instead of fighting them, you take away their power. I often tell students, imagine fear as a wave in the ocean. You can try to resist it, and you will drown in frustration. Or you can learn to surf it. Mental strength is learning to ride the wave without letting it control you. Another crucial element is preparation with a growth mindset. Let me explain with a story. May, a learner from China, dreaded speaking in English because she never knew what would be said to her in a conversation. She would panic at unexpected questions. One day she started practicing what-if scenarios. What if someone asks me about my weekend? What if I can't find the right word? What if I make a mistake? She prepared answers in advance and even practiced improvising. At first it felt silly, but over time, she noticed something when challenges came. She wasn't frozen. Her mind had been trained. Her confidence was no longer dependent on perfection, but on preparation and flexibility. That's another layer of mental strength, being ready for the unexpected. And here's something that often surprises learners' mental strength is built outside of English too. Activities like meditation, journaling, or even physical exercise improve your ability to focus and manage stress. When your brain is trained to handle pressure in other areas, speaking English under stress becomes easier. I remember telling students about a simple exercise I use myself. Each morning, speak one sentence aloud, record it, and play it back. Then deliberately repeat a sentence incorrectly on purpose and correct it. At first, it feels weird. You might even laugh at yourself, but this builds resilience. It teaches your mind mistakes are safe. Fear is temporary. Confidence grows when you act anyway. One student, Javier, used to avoid speaking at all costs. His biggest fear was embarrassment. But he committed to recording 30-second videos in English daily, no matter how awkward they felt. After weeks, he noticed his mind didn't panic anymore. His mental strength had been trained. Fear was no longer paralyzing, it was just a signal that he was stretching. Another mental strategy is positive self-talk. How you speak to yourself matters more than anyone else's opinion. When your mind says, "I can't do this," you freeze. But when you say, "I'm learning, and it's okay to make mistakes," you relax. You create space to speak naturally. Fatima, a student from Egypt, struggled with this. She started practicing affirmations. "I can speak English. I am improving. My words have value." Within weeks, her anxiety decreased and her speaking improved. Mental strength also grows through small, consistent challenges. You don't start by giving a presentation in front of 100 people. You start by speaking one sentence to a friend, then 5 sentences, then a short conversation. Gradually, your mind adapts to higher levels of stress. This is exactly how elite athletes, performers, and speakers train. They start small, increase pressure slowly, and build resilience. English learners can do the same. Let's talk about reframing failure. Every mistake, pause, or awkward sentence is not a setback, it's a stepping stone. Every fluent speaker you admire has stumbled countless times. But they survived each moment. They learned, adapted, and kept going. The mental strength to continue despite failure separates learners who plateau from those who keep growing. Another crucial point is mindfulness during speaking. When we speak English under stress, our minds often focus on fear or judgment. Instead, focus on the words, the rhythm, and the message. Focus on connection, not perfection. This keeps your mind grounded, reduces panic, and strengthens mental endurance. I want to share a story about Lucas, a student from Brazil. During meetings, he used to panic whenever he had to speak English. One day, I asked him to focus only on conveying one idea clearly, without worrying about mistakes. He did. And he realized something remarkable: he could communicate effectively. His brain was no longer overwhelmed by fear. That single mental shift, focus over fear, was transformative. Mental strength also comes from celebrating progress, not perfection. Every small victory counts. A word remembered, a sentence spoken, a conversation completed, these are all wins. By recognizing them, Your mind becomes motivated and resilient. You build confidence gradually, without pressure, without self-criticism. And here's the deeper truth: mental strength is not built overnight. It grows slowly through repeated practice, reflection, and exposure to challenges. Every small uncomfortable moment you survive adds to your reservoir of resilience. Over time, you notice that speaking English becomes easier, even exciting, because your mind is ready to handle challenges. Finally, mental strength is about belief in yourself, believing that even when you struggle, stumble, or feel nervous, you can act, you can learn, you can continue. That belief transforms fear into energy, hesitation into action, and nervousness into confidence. One of the most powerful tools to build mental strength is gradual exposure to discomfort. Let me explain with a story. Sophia, a student from Turkey, was terrified of speaking English in front of anyone. Her mind would race, words would vanish, and she would leave conversations feeling embarrassed. I suggested she start small. Speak one sentence to herself in front of a mirror every day, then to a friend, then to a small group. At first, it was agonizing. Her heart pounded, her hands shook. But each time she practiced, the discomfort lessened slightly. Week by week, her mind grew stronger. After a few months, she was volunteering to speak in online group sessions. Mental strength, like a muscle, had developed through small, consistent challenges. This principle works the same for everyone. You start tiny, you push a little beyond comfort, and your mind adapts. Another key to mental strength is retraining your inner dialogue. Many learners have an inner voice that says, "I can't, I'm too slow," or "I'll embarrass myself." That voice is powerful because your brain believes it. But you can retrain it. Start replacing "I can't" with "I'm learning and improving." Replace "I'll embarrass myself" with "mistakes are part of learning." There's a student I know, Daniel from Mexico, who was terrified of making mistakes. Every sentence he spoke felt like a test he could fail. When he started consciously changing his inner dialogue, he noticed a dramatic shift. Instead of freezing, he experimented with words, tried new expressions, and even laughed at small mistakes. His mental strength grew because he stopped fighting himself and started working with himself. Mental strength also comes from preparing for pressure situations in advance. Think of it like a mental rehearsal. Imagine a conversation, a meeting, or even a casual chat. Picture yourself speaking fluently, making small mistakes, correcting them, and finishing the conversation with confidence. When the real moment comes, your brain has already been there. The anxiety is reduced because you've mentally rehearsed success. A great example is Layla from Morocco. She had an upcoming online interview in English. She practiced imagining the scenario every day, visualizing herself answering questions clearly, calmly, and confidently. When the interview arrived, she noticed her fear was smaller than usual. Her mind had been trained to handle the challenge. That's the power of mental strength, preparation not just in knowledge, but in mindset. Another important element is focusing on progress, not perfection. Learners often compare themselves to fluent speakers and feel discouraged. But mental strength grows when you acknowledge small wins, a sentence spoken clearly, a conversation completed, a new word used correctly. Over time, these small victories compound. I remember Hassan, a student from Egypt, who was obsessed with perfect grammar. Every mistake crushed his confidence. I encouraged him to speak freely, focusing on communication over perfection. At first, it was hard, but gradually he began to enjoy speaking. His mental strength grew because he realized that progress matters more than flawless performance. Now let's talk about resilience under pressure. English speaking can be unpredictable. People might correct you, misunderstand you, or speak faster than you. Mental strength allows you to handle these situations calmly. Instead of panicking or shutting down, you stay present, adjust, and continue. I once worked with a learner named Carla from Spain. She was nervous in group discussions because people talked quickly. One day, someone laughed at her mispronunciation. Normally, she would have shut down. But by practicing resilience exercises, pausing, taking a breath, and continuing, she found her confidence returned. Each challenge she survived made her stronger for the next. Another mental strategy is mindfulness during speaking. Many learners focus on their mistakes or fear of judgment, which creates tension and blocks their words. Instead, focus on the present moment, the words, the ideas, and the person you are speaking to. This focus shifts energy from fear to action. Lucas, a student from Brazil, struggled in meetings because he was too focused on himself. When he learned to focus on communication rather than self-criticism, his fluency and confidence skyrocketed. Mental strength also thrives on celebrating discomfort as growth. Every time you speak despite fear, your mind learns, I can handle this. Anxiety is no longer a signal to stop, it's a signal that you are stretching, learning, and growing. Here's a practical exercise for listeners. Pick one English speaking challenge each week. It could be a short conversation with a stranger, recording yourself, or asking a question in class. Before the challenge, take a few deep breaths. Remind yourself that discomfort is normal and say a mental affirmation like, I am capable. I am learning. I can do this. After the challenge, reflect on what went well and what you learned. Repeat weekly. Your mental strength will grow steadily. Another key is building a support environment. Surround yourself with people who encourage you, who normalize mistakes, and who celebrate effort. Mental strength is easier to cultivate when you know that errors are part of learning, not failure. Students often thrive in communities where speaking English is safe, supportive, and playful. Finally, remember that mental strength is a lifelong practice. Every conversation, every presentation, every attempt, even if it feels imperfect, is training your mind. Each experience is adding resilience, focus, and confidence. Over months and years, what once felt impossible becomes natural. Fear fades. Fluency grows. Confidence becomes your default state. There's one more powerful way to strengthen your mind for English speaking: embracing challenges intentionally. Most learners avoid situations where they feel uncomfortable. They skip speaking in class. They avoid phone calls. They stay quiet in group conversations. But each avoided moment is a lost opportunity to grow mental strength. Take Arman from Bangladesh, for example. He was terrified of speaking in online group sessions. Every time he tried, he would freeze and withdraw. One day, he challenged himself. I will speak at least one sentence every session, no matter what. At first, it was painful. He stumbled, mispronounced words, and felt embarrassed. But by persisting, his brain learned discomfort is temporary. Action is possible. mistakes are safe. After a few weeks, speaking in group sessions became manageable, even enjoyable. That's the magic of intentional exposure. Another technique is desensitization through repetition. Say you're afraid of asking questions in English during class. Start small, ask a simple question every day, even if it's just, "What does this word mean?" Over time, your mind will stop overreacting to stress. Anxiety diminishes because your brain learns that challenges are normal and survivable. I want to share a story about Lena from Egypt. She wanted to order coffee in English, but was terrified of speaking to the barista. She practiced with a friend, repeated sentences aloud, even role-played the scenario. The first day she went to the cafe, her hands shook, and she stumbled over words. But she did it. She survived. On the second day, she spoke more confidently. By the end of the week, ordering coffee felt easy. This small repeated exposure built her mental strength and confidence incrementally. Another crucial aspect is handling criticism and feedback constructively. When learning English, people may correct you, misunderstand you, or give unsolicited advice. Mental strength allows you to listen without taking it personally. You learn from feedback instead of letting it shake your confidence. I remember Farid from Morocco. In an online English session, someone corrected his pronunciation in front of everyone. Normally, he would have shut down, but this time he took a deep breath, repeated the word, smiled, and moved on. Afterwards, he reflected on the correction and practiced it. Each such experience strengthened his resilience, making future challenges less intimidating. Mental strength also involves building patience with yourself. Progress in speaking is rarely linear. Some days you feel fluent, other days you struggle. Learners with strong mental resilience understand that temporary setbacks are normal. They keep practicing, reflecting, and improving without letting frustration or comparison derail them. One student, Hana from Japan, kept a journal to track small wins each day. She recorded one sentence she spoke confidently, one word she learned, and one small conversation she completed. Reading back over weeks, she realized how much she had improved. That daily reflection strengthened her mind because she saw tangible progress, even when it felt slow. Another powerful practice is visualization before speaking. Imagine yourself in a challenging conversation. Picture the scenario. Hear yourself speaking clearly. See yourself handling mistakes calmly, and feel the confidence flowing. Mental rehearsal prepares your brain for reality, reduces anxiety, and improves performance. Consider the example of Miguel from Spain. He had to give a presentation in English at work. Every night before the presentation, he visualized himself speaking fluently, responding to questions calmly, and completing the presentation successfully. When the day arrived, his mental strength carried him. He delivered confidently and smoothly, even when unexpected questions came up. I also want to emphasize celebrating courage, not just results. Every time you speak despite fear, you reinforce mental strength. The courage to act matters more than perfection. Even if the sentence is imperfect, even if you make mistakes, every attempt builds resilience. For example, Sarah from Iran recorded herself speaking every day, intentionally making mistakes and laughing at them. Over time, her anxiety decreased and her confidence soared. Mental strength isn't about being flawless, it's about being willing to face challenges consistently. Another tip is breathing and grounding techniques. When anxiety strikes, it's easy to feel your heart racing, your mind scattered, and your tongue frozen. Simple deep breathing exercises: inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4, can calm the nervous system and help you stay present. Grounding exercises like feeling your feet on the floor or noticing your surroundings also redirect your mind from panic to focus. I remember Ahmed, who would freeze during online discussions. Once he learned to take a slow breath before speaking, he noticed he could think more clearly, articulate better, and manage stress. These small mental tools, combined with practice and exposure, dramatically strengthen resilience. Finally, embracing curiosity over judgment is a game changer. When your mind is focused on curiosity, wanting to learn, experiment, and explore English, it stops fearing mistakes. Every challenge becomes an opportunity. Fatima from Turkey shifted her mindset from "I hope I don't make mistakes" to "I wonder how I can express this." Her mental strength grew because she replaced fear with curiosity, and speaking became less stressful and more enjoyable. Another way to build mental strength is through embracing unpredictability. English conversations are often unpredictable. People might ask questions you didn't expect, use words you don't know, or speak faster than you can follow. The mind of a strong English speaker isn't afraid of unpredictability, it thrives in it. Take Javier from Colombia as an example. He was terrified of speaking with native speakers. Every conversation felt like walking a tightrope. One wrong word and he would fall. I suggested he start small by having short, unscripted chats with friends or online partners, intentionally letting the conversation go in unexpected directions. At first, it was uncomfortable. His brain raced, and he stumbled over words. But after repeating this over weeks, he discovered something powerful. He could handle unpredictability. His mind became resilient, adaptable, and confident. Another critical aspect of mental strength is learning to pause. Many learners panic and rush to speak, fearing silence. But silence can be your ally. Pausing allows your mind to process, organize thoughts, and respond clearly. Fatima, a student from Egypt, used to speak rapidly, jumbling words and making mistakes. I taught her to pause intentionally after each sentence. At first, it felt strange. But over time, her speaking became more confident, structured, and natural. The pause gave her control, reducing anxiety and building mental strength. Mental strength also comes from facing public speaking gradually. You don't have to start with a big audience. Start small, speak to yourself, then a friend, then a small group, then online sessions, and eventually larger meetings. Each exposure builds resilience. Lena from Japan practiced this by speaking in front of a mirror, then recording herself, then sending recordings to friends for feedback. Slowly, she moved to live video calls and finally to speaking confidently in seminars. Her mental strength grew step by step, each level preparing her for the next. Another practice is reframing mistakes as learning opportunities. Every learner makes mistakes, mispronounces words, or uses wrong grammar. Mental strength is the ability to see mistakes not as failure, but as feedback. Ahmed from Morocco began writing down mistakes he made each week and reflecting on them. He discovered patterns, corrected them, and celebrated improvement. His fear of mistakes decreased, and his confidence increased. Visualization remains one of the most powerful tools for mental strength. Imagine yourself in challenging scenarios, answering tough questions, participating in meetings, or giving a presentation. Picture yourself responding confidently, calmly, and effectively. Your mind starts rehearsing success, reducing fear when reality arrives. Lucas from Brazil used this technique before online presentations. He visualized himself speaking fluently, handling questions, and staying calm. When the actual presentation happened, he was composed and confident because his mind had practiced resilience in advance. Mental strength also grows through self-reflection after each speaking attempt. After every conversation or practice session, take a moment to reflect what went well. What challenged me? What can I improve next time? This reflection trains your mind to view challenges as growth opportunities rather than threats. Sarah from Iran used this after each daily recording. She noted improvements, small victories, and areas to work on. Over time, her resilience increased because she saw her progress clearly. Accountability is another tool. Sharing your English goals with a friend, teacher, or community helps build mental strength. When someone knows you are practicing, you are more likely to show up consistently, even when fear or fatigue strikes. Mei, from China, joined an online English speaking group. Knowing she had to speak daily motivated her to act, even when she felt nervous. That consistency built both skill and mental resilience. Another important element is gratitude for effort. Often, learners focus only on results: fluency, perfect pronunciation, or flawless grammar. But mental strength grows when you appreciate effort itself. Celebrate the courage to speak, the persistence to practice, and the willingness to make mistakes. Fatima from Turkey began a daily habit. After speaking each day, she would note one brave thing she did in English. This practice reinforced a growth mindset and strengthened her mental resilience. Let's not forget breathing and body awareness. When fear or stress spikes, your body reacts: tense shoulders, rapid heartbeat, shallow breathing. Learning to control your body calms your mind. Deep, slow breaths, grounding your feet, and releasing tension can shift your focus from fear to presence. Ahmed, who froze in conversations, started practicing deep breathing before speaking. His mind settled, and words flowed more easily. Mental strength is as much about controlling your body as it is your thoughts. Finally, a secret many learners overlook. Mental strength compounds over time. Every single effort, every conversation, every intentional discomfort adds up. Months of small challenges transform into fluency, confidence, and calm under pressure. What felt impossible at first becomes natural. What once triggered panic becomes manageable. Every time you speak, you're training your brain to respond differently to stress. Another powerful way to build mental strength is through intentional discomfort in daily life. You don't always have to wait for a conversation or a formal speaking opportunity. You can create small moments every day that challenge your mind to act despite fear. For example, order your coffee in English, ask a stranger a simple question, or read a short paragraph aloud. At first, it may feel awkward. Your palms may sweat, your voice may shake, but each of these small exposures teaches your brain: discomfort is temporary, and I can handle it. Consider Lila from Morocco. She would avoid speaking in any public situation because she feared judgment. I encouraged her to start small every day. One short English sentence in front of a mirror. Then a message in a chat group, then a quick question in class. She complained it was embarrassing, but after weeks, she noticed that her anxiety had decreased. Each small step strengthened her mental resilience. Self-compassion is another cornerstone. Mental strength doesn't mean harshly pushing yourself or criticizing every mistake. It means acknowledging that learning is hard. Mistakes happen, and you are progressing. Karim from Egypt struggled with perfectionism. He would stop speaking every time he made a small error. Once he started practicing self-compassion, telling himself, "It's okay. Mistakes are part of learning," he felt freer to speak and experiment. His mental resilience grew because he wasn't fighting himself anymore. Another practice is mental rehearsal combined with visualization under pressure. Imagine yourself in a situation you fear: a phone call, a class discussion, or a social conversation. Picture yourself handling it confidently, stumbling if needed, and finishing successfully. Your brain begins to internalize success, reducing fear when the real moment arrives. Lucas from Brazil, for instance, used this before live online presentations. By mentally rehearsing the scenario, he built confidence, focus, and calmness, transforming anxiety into performance. A key principle of mental strength is focusing on progress, not perfection. Too many learners judge themselves harshly after every mistake, which creates anxiety and paralysis. Fatima from Turkey began tracking her small wins, each new word she used correctly, each complete sentence, every conversation attempted. By focusing on effort and progress, she developed a resilient mindset. Mistakes became learning opportunities rather than threats. Accountability partners also help strengthen mental resilience. When you share your English speaking goals with a friend, mentor, or online group, it adds a layer of commitment. You're more likely to practice even when you feel nervous. May from China joined an English speaking challenge group where members had to speak a short sentence daily. Knowing others expected her participation pushed her past fear and built both skill and mental endurance. Another practical technique is breathing and body-centered exercises. Stress triggers physiological responses, rapid heartbeat, shallow breathing, muscle tension that amplify anxiety. Training yourself to breathe deeply, relax your body, and maintain presence can calm your mind and improve performance. Ahmed from Morocco struggled with freezing mid-conversation. He practiced deep abdominal breathing before speaking and noticed his thoughts cleared, words flowed, and his confidence grew. Reframing fear as excitement is another mental strategy. Instead of thinking, "I'm nervous, I can't do this," tell yourself, "I'm excited. This is an opportunity to grow." Your body reacts similarly to fear and excitement physiologically. By changing your mental label, you can convert anxiety into energy for performance. Hana from Japan discovered this during online meetings. Shifting her mindset from fear to excitement helped her speak more naturally and confidently. Reflective journaling builds mental resilience over time. After each practice session or conversation, write down what went well, what was challenging, and what you learned. Over weeks, you will notice patterns of improvement and develop confidence in your growth. Lena from Japan used this method and realized that moments she once feared became stepping stones for greater confidence and fluency. Finally, let's talk about embracing the unknown and unpredictability. Every English conversation has surprises unexpected questions, new words, unfamiliar accents. Mental strength is the ability to handle unpredictability calmly. Arman from Bangladesh practiced this by engaging in unscripted conversations daily. Initially, he panicked, but over time, he became adaptable, confident, and resilient. He learned that uncertainty is not a threat, it's a training ground for strength. By consistently practicing these strategies, intentional exposure, self-compassion, visualization, accountability, breathing exercises, mindset reframing, journaling, and embracing unpredictability, you build a mental framework that allows you to speak English confidently even under pressure. Each step compounds. Each challenge faced adds resilience, and over months, you'll notice a remarkable transformation. Fear diminishes, confidence grows, and speaking English becomes not just possible, but enjoyable. So, as we reflect on everything we've explored today, remember this: mental strength isn't about being fearless or perfect. It's about showing up again and again, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about taking small steps, facing challenges, learning from mistakes, and keeping your focus on progress rather than perfection. Every sentence spoken, every conversation attempted, every moment you push through discomfort is a building block for resilience. Over time, these small actions compound into confidence, fluency, and calm under pressure. The fear you feel now is not a wall, it's a signal that growth is happening. Each challenge you face strengthens your mind and expands your ability to communicate. Think of mental strength as a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And the stronger your mind, the freer and more natural your English will feel. You'll speak with confidence, handle mistakes gracefully, and enjoy conversations that once felt intimidating. So take a deep breath, step into discomfort, and embrace the journey. Speak, stumble, learn, and repeat. Each moment you face the challenge builds not just your English, but your resilience, your courage, and your belief in yourself. Mental strength is your secret superpower, and with it, English-speaking challenges become opportunities for growth rather than obstacles. Your journey begins today. Step forward, speak up, and trust that with each effort, your mind and your English will grow stronger.